Okay, good afternoon. Today's lesson is Aseret hadibrot, dibra number 6, part 1. This show is dedicated for refuah shlema to Nahid Sarah Bat Iran and Rafael Chaim Meir Ben Sima Chasha, and Le'ilui Nishmat Avraham Ben Shlomo and Meir Ben Avraham, Uziel ben Avraham, and Eliyahu ben Menachem. If you would like me to dedicate a class for someone, for Le'ilui Nishmat, in the memory of someone, or for refuah shlema, or for whatever, or panasa, whatever it is, please send me a message privately with the name of the person and what you need, and Bezat Hashem will hopefully listen in the zechut of this learning. So to recap yesterday's lesson, we finished learning about kivud avaim, and now we're about to start the sixth commandment, the sixth dibra, which is lo tirtzach, do not commit murder. So Rabbi Raphael Shimshon Hirsch says like this: the first 5 commandments, dibrot, right? The first one was Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am your God. The second one, Lo yeh lecha, you shall not have any other God. We recognize in these two, recognize Hashem as the one responsible for our fate and the guide for all our actions. In the dibra, in the commandment lo tisa, not to say Hashem's name in vain, that one is the basis for our social life. As we make deals with each other and we trust each other to be truthful and to be honest. In Zachor et Yom HaShabbat, we publicly honor Hashem by not working on Shabbat. We don't open our business, we don't go to work, we don't travel. Our day is spent very differently. In the dibra, in the commandment, kabed et avicha vet imecha, respect your parents, it has a continuous transmission of laws, customs, and history throughout the ages, throughout the generations, and because of the influence of the home, of the family life, right? So that we see from generation to generation. Now, the following 5 commandments, so this is like an introduction for the next 5 commandments. The following 5 commandments declare the result of this knowledge, that Hashem is one, that we follow His laws, we transmit His laws, and the recognition in our social life, right? That we cannot swear in Hashem's name. If Hashem is the only one who is responsible for our fate in life and is the guide of our actions, then everyone must be considered equal in His care. Hashem takes care of the whole world. He's the one who is in charge of who we marry, where we're going to live, how many kids, what we're going to do for life during our lifetime, right? And Hashem does this for every single person in this world. How many people? What's the world population? What? 4-5 billion? Yes, Hashem is responsible for every one of us. and every one of our actions, except for Yirat Shamayim, for wanting to do good and wanting to follow his mitzvot. So Hashem actually observes what we do. He sees, right? Since he's responsible and takes care of us, so he sees what's going on. Every human being at your side, like every other human being, is placed where he is by Hashem. Hashem's directions and equally to yourself, right? Hashem directs him and us also. And all human, every single human on earth has human rights granted by Hashem. So that all his possessions, his life, his wife, his freedom, his happiness, his honor, and his property, they must all be considered sacred to him. It's mine. So you cannot really take it away from me, right? So you can't take his life, you cannot kill him, or break up his marriage, or rob him of his freedom, or smear his honor and his happiness by false evidence or testimony, right? We cannot go and say, yes, this man killed when he never did so, or this man robbed. You can't allow yourself to be jealous or envious of anything which makes the home of another human being, and that includes everything which he owns. It means we cannot be jealous of a dress that someone owns, or a piece of jewelry, or a car, or a home, or anything, or a child, a wife, a husband. We cannot be, right? We cannot be jealous. So lo tirtzach, do not commit murder, is the highest degree of rishut, of resha, of wickedness. It's willfully breaking the law. I know what I'm doing, but I still want to do it. There are other terms such as hereg or hamit, which also means killing someone. But that hereg and hamit is different from retzach. Hereg is when someone is killed by the bedin, and the same with hamit. Someone is killed by the bedin, that's his punishment for whatever he committed, if it's murder or whatever else, and his punishment is supposed to be the death sentence, then yes. And we're talking about the bedin of the Sanhedrin, or the bedin of 23 judges, the time of the Bet HaMikdash. In nowadays, we don't have that authority. So, for example, in the days of the Bet HaMikdash, if a murderer was warned not to kill someone else, he was warned by two witnesses, if there were witnesses, right? And and they tried to stop him. They tried to save the person who was supposed to be killed by this murderer, and for whatever reason, they weren't able to save this other person, and the murderer went ahead and killed and murdered. So the bedin, which was composed of 23 dayanim, they would judge him. If he was found guilty according to the law of the Torah, then he would be decapitated, like his head would be cut off. If there weren't any witnesses, then he was put in a narrow room, some kind of a prison, which was very uncomfortable for him, and he was fed only bread and water, but very little. So that what happened, that over time, if it took a few months or whatever it took, or however long it took, his stomach was shrink because he was fed so little. Then they would feed him barley. Barley expands. And because he was hungry, he would eat. And that would cause him to die. Unfortunately, we see actually this kind of this same thing happened after when people were liberated from the concentration camps, and so the liberators came, they gave them chocolate, they gave them candy, they gave them cake, and they gave them fruit and proper meals. But those people had been starved for so long that unfortunately the food was too rich and too much at once, and there were unfortunately many that died from it because their stomach had shrunk. So to go on with our lesson here, in the Sefer HaChinuch, Sefer HaChinuch was written by Rabbi Levi in Spain. And in his Sefer, in his book, he actually explains the mitzvah. So he explains, and he says like this. He says that Hashem created the world and commanded us, the people, to populate it, to build it. And Hashem has stopped us from destroying it by our own hands, by not killing people. Because when we kill people, we destroy the world. And that's why Chachamim say, when someone saves a life of another person, it is as if he has saved an entire world because of this reason. So, people are meant to build, not to destroy the world. However, people who are reshaim, such as informers, that's why we say in the Amida Laminim Vela Malshinim, informers and people who act against us, so they defeat their purpose of building the world. They are destroying the world. As Shlomo HaMelech said about them, such people, be'avod reshaim rina, that when these reshaim are lost, they are dead, they get their punishment, let's sing a song. What does this mean, let's sing a song? Because the world then can continue to be built. Otherwise, if we allow these people to continue what they do, they will destroy the world. And just as it says in the Gemara, the Chachamim say, Kotzim mechale ani min hakerem. There's one Chacham who said, Kotzim mechale ani min hakerem, meaning, I remove the thorns from the vineyard, then what? What happens? Once the thorns are removed, then the grapes, the vines can really grow and multiply and grow better grapes, better quality, and much more, and reproduce themselves. And Chachamim tell us, one who is very sick and who is hooked up on machines or is in a coma, if we unplug the machines, it is considered murder. Then Chachamim bring us here the very sad story about Nevayot. In Sefer Melachim, in Kings, we are told about the story of Achav HaMelech. Achav was a king, but he was a Rasha. He was one of the most Reshaim of the kings of Israel. And he married a woman by the name of Isabel. Isabel was not Jewish, but he married her. She brought her avodah zarah with him into her marriage, encouraged him, and encouraged actually in public all Jews to actually worship avodah zarah. Now, this Ahav HaMelech, he had a cousin by the name of Nevayot. Nevayot owned a beautiful vineyard, very beautiful vineyard. And the king was very envious. He was jealous. He said, I want this vineyard. How am I going to get that? And every day it was like eating him up that he did not own this beautiful vineyard. To the point that one day he was sick, he was in bed, and his wife said, what's wrong with you? Why are you sick? He wouldn't talk, he wouldn't eat. What's the matter? And he said, my cousin Nevayot owns a beautiful vineyard and I want it. She said, is that your problem? No problem. What did she do? She arranged for false witnesses, and she arranged for a trial that Nevayot had cursed Hashem, so to say, Chas v'shalom, and because of it, he deserved to die. They killed him. Yes, the false witnesses were found. Yes, this is what he said, and on, and he was killed because of what he was supposed to have done. Now, when someone is killed by the king, like in this case, so the king inherits all the riches, all the possessions of the dead man. So what happened now? Ahav now was the owner of the vineyard. Ahav was, as we said, was a wicked king. Hashem helped him many times. He made many miracles in wars. He had many wars to fight. And then there came one war. And Hashem was judging Nevayot, whether he should survive the war or die at war. And this time Hashem said, I will not save him. Why? What tipped the scale this time? What is it that tipped the scale and did not save Ahav? Not the avodah zarah, not everything else that he had done. One thing, the fact that he had killed an innocent man. For that, Hashem said, I cannot forgive you. The dam of Nevayot is still crying to me. The blood of Nevayot is crying to me because you killed an innocent man. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, let us pray that in the zechut of this learning, Hashem may bless us with bracha, hatzlacha, briut, parnasa tova, simcha, nachat, וזיווגים. Have a good day.